The rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors. Yeah, I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
The thing is, like, we're getting the rumors from the internet, and the internet thinks that the Taliban took out that bridge in Baltimore. So it's like Prince Harry was hanging with Diddy.
I mean, everybody hung with Diddy. That's the other tricky thing. Like, Diddy hung out with everybody. And I've spoken to a bunch of people who are like, yo, great dude, like, always there for you, never asked for a single thing.
Till 1 a.m.
And then the freak off.
Everybody says, get out of the house.
Yeah.
It's like the gremlins start eating after midnight. Everybody who tells the stories like, I saw her go upstairs and these dudes are fucking like right on the couch.
Yeah.
And then I go in this room and these guys are fucking, and it's like,
and pros. Like, apparently he was getting mailed. Yeah, that was one of the rumors, like the freak off. So he would hire the professional dicks to have sex with the girls, and I think he would watch, allegedly. That's what was alleged, I think. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. And that's the other thing, like, I wonder, like, is that just a power thing?
It's a Caligula thing.
What does that mean?
Caligula, like the emperor.
Video, watch how Jay-Z quickly turned around when P. Diddy greeted Beyonce with a touch on her shoulder. Jay-Z came out of nowhere. This was at the Rock Nation brunch back in 2018. Jay-Z definitely wasn't having it.
Joe Rogan just leaked the details on Diddy and Beyonce's secret affair, and the streets ain't ready for what he put on the table. Word is the two of them moved in the same private rooms tied to them Epstein parties, and the footage and stories he dropped paint a picture way darker than the perfect image they sold. If even half of this holds up, the power couple story just took a real ugly turn. Now, if your ears been down to this whole Diddy scandal, then you'd know that Joe Rogan been one of the loudest industry insiders. Dude been talking and exposing a lot since Diddy's sentence in jail. He is not just reacting to the prison footage or the old party stories. He is putting a specific connection on the table that the streets been whispering about for years. Diddy and Beyonce, a secret affair that allegedly ran through the same private rooms tied to them Epstein parties. And according to Rogan, the details he is leaking paint a picture way darker than the perfect power couple image the public was coming. The streets already knew Diddy and Jay-Z moved tight for decades. Same parties, elite circles, private sessions where the real business got handled. Bad Boy and Rockefeller, energy overlapping. Loyalty looking ironclad on the surface. But Jaguar Wright been calling out the real power dynamics in that marriage for years. She said Jay-Z operates as a gatekeeper who knows how to control narratives and people, not just as a businessman or rapper, as someone who uses leverage, secrets, and deals to keep people in the lane he wants. And she linked that control straight back to Diddy's world.
Who is Sean approved from the world of entertainment?
There's only one person.
Oh, go on.
And I call him Sean. That's Jay-Z. We call each other Sean.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody else could call me Sean.
He's the only person who's Sean approved.
There's not a single person that
outside of family.
That should be outside of my mother.
Okay,
that should be calling me. Yeah, they should be calling me Sean. What's that? That's Marv King.
Niggas feeling marvelous.
You gotta get the shoes though. Y'all know what it is.
Tell me something. When you have a peanut butter jelly sandwich, if it's just peanut butter, it's just peanut butter. If it's just jelly, it's jelly. When you put it together, it becomes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and the taste is undeniable.
You saying Diddy and Jay-Z is peanut butter jelly?
Peanut butter and jelly.
Word is Diddy had tapes, stuff that could destroy careers if it got out. Jaguar said Jay knew about those private sessions, the wild gatherings, compromising situations, and instead of distancing himself completely, he allegedly used similar tactics to keep Beyonce locked in. Secrets, deals, knowing too much about what happens in them elite circles. The same way Diddy controlled people with recordings, Jay allegedly did it with Beyonce to protect the empire. That is the foundation Joe Rogan is building on when he starts talking about the affair. Folks point to times when Beyonce appeared like she was not in control of her mind. At the time, it all looked strange, but now folks connecting dots. Allegedly, she was made drunk by Diddy and Jay-Z to keep her under control during her early days in Hollywood. Now, before you come for me not stating this as fact, only reporting what the street is saying. Now fast forward to the after parties where the real action happened once the cameras cut. Diddy pulling in heavy hitters, no protection in sight, baby oil stacked when the feds raided, folks leaving with more than hangovers. Now Joe saying Beyonce was in those same freak offs. Y'all the baby spilled on one late night session where Beyonce walked up and introduced herself like she was sizing him for something bigger, not regular small talk. He said those gatherings felt like twisted initiation rituals, full of pressure and demands. He refused to submit and his momentum took a hit right after.
In LA, this was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib. Like the influx of people, he had put him out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know.
Right.
Jay-Z and Beyonce being, you know, two of the other 15 people in the room. So that'll just put into perspective of the type of company I was in at the moment, you know. And she came over and introduced herself to me like as if she had to.
Right.
Beyonce, cut it out. But I'm a big fan of your work, you know what I'm saying? Whoop de whoop, and that was just dope. That was dope as hell to me, man. That was dope. That was super dope.
With a lot of that, you correct, except for like with the freestyles, I never stopped that. Like that was really the only thing I could do off the rip. That was my way to boom, keep doing what I'm doing. But when it comes to like festivals and shit like that, that shit is controlled, you know what I mean? Like somebody press the button. You know what I'm saying? Somebody press the button, you get what I'm saying? And I gotta navigate my way through that. However I navigate my way through that, that ain't something I can just, you know.
Jay-Z has denied any involvement with the freak-off events, but old photos showing him present at Diddy's all-white parties keep resurfacing, fans talking loud. The more people search for answers, the more questions they uncover. And when people start discussing power couples, industry influence, and who allegedly knew what was happening behind closed doors, the discussion gets much bigger than one person, but about Hollywood itself. It gets darker because the bodyguard leak comes in and turns the heat up. A former bodyguard exposed some disturbing tape, wild freak-off setups, and a situation where Beyonce and Cassie were supposedly being moved around like pieces on a board by Diddy and Jay-Z. If even a piece of that is true, this is not just chatter. This is a whole different level of ugly.
Bruh, those people who was caught at Diddy party did not know that he had 250 tape recorders in that house.
Yeah, same Cassie, Diddy's ex-girlfriend. Y'all remember when stepped into that courtroom and described a life that looked glamorous on camera, but behind closed doors was control, fear, and straight survival. It started with love, a real connection, then slowly turned into full dominance. Career, movement, image, who she talks to, where she goes, everything. Then came the part that made people uncomfortable, those freak-offs. Not just wild parties, these were allegedly controlled situations where she was expected to entertain other men over and over again. Not freely, but under pressure, sometimes under the influence of substances just to get through it. She said after some of those situations, she felt dirty and grimy.
When the prosecution asked her, was there ever a time that you enjoyed the freak-offs? This is when Cassie got choked up and she said, I did, but only because I got to spend one-on-one time with Combs, and I really did love him.
And that is speaking to the psychological abuse, in addition to the physical abuse that she potentially experienced as well.
She's definitely laying out someone who was young, who was influenced by wanting to have this record career. She signed a 10-album deal with Bad Boy Entertainment, led by Sean Combs, and basically describes being enamored by Sean Combs, loving him, not knowing about certain things, and him sort of telling her, teaching her about that.
And I think what they're trying to do here is they've charged Combs with trafficking by force and coercion. And part of that force is physical violence and the threat of physical violence. I mean, this is why Combs's lawyer has called this probably the most important piece of evidence in this whole trial, because that is how the prosecution will want to show the jury that there was violence, that it was real. You can't distinguish this. They're not denying this happened. What Combs' lawyers is trying to tell the jury, though, that this is not evidence of trafficking. It's evidence of domestic violence, which he owns, but they're saying it is a very different thing than what he's been charged with.
That is not somebody enjoying themselves. That is somebody dealing with something they do not want. When she resisted, things allegedly went left. She got chased, handled aggressively, situations turning physical real quick. The 2016 hotel footage the world later saw was never supposed to come out, but it did. Joe backed up pieces of that same picture. He's saying Beyonce was in those same spaces, moments where things went from normal to chaos in seconds. Photos videos been circulating and the street been wild. Multiple accounts from male escorts Diddy hired painted the same environment. Substance dependency, not for fun, but to cope, to numb, to get through situations we cannot even fully break down here. And if all this was happening in front of people, assistants, security, insiders, and nobody stepped in, who else knew? And more importantly, who else was in those rooms? Joe Rogan is putting the affair details next to the Epstein party connections. The same private rooms, overlapping circles, and same leverage that kept people in line. The bodyguard tape showing the swapping. Jaguar exposing the control Jay allegedly used to keep Beyonce famous. The streets are connecting every piece in real time. The after parties where Beyonce showed up and the energy shifted. The tapes Diddy allegedly held that Jay knew about. The way Cassie described the control and the freak-offs. The way the same names keep overlapping across decades. The Epstein files putting more smoke around the same elite spaces. And Joe Rogan sitting with all of it and saying the secret affair is not just rumor. And them online world trust they been loud. This user goes, Beyonce was in Diddy Freak-Off's videos. Another wrote, they already had it, he just not supposed to do it in public. Then this user bluntly puts it, they share her. Another comments, he knows Diddy can't be trusted spotlight on you. How deep does the control run when a man allegedly forces his own wife into the same circles that left other women feeling dirty and grimy just to keep the empire on top? What else is sitting in those private rooms and Epstein-tied parties that still has not hit the streets? And if Joe Rogan is leaking the affair details now, how much longer before the full picture of who got swapped, protected, and who got sacrificed becomes impossible to ignore? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're diving deep. And if you're here for unfiltered truths and eye-opening reveals, don't just scroll, stick around, and check out what's coming up next.